But in the end, all of this is really about people, it's about citizens, it's about how new technologies can empower all of us to make more informed decisions in our cities. With one of the partners, Ericsson, they actually are one of the technology partners behind most of the cell phone networks worldwide. What we are doing is using some of this anonymized and aggregated information that you get from the network in order really to better understand human behavior. It's something we call like the signature of humanity. And that can tell you incredible things, can tell you, for instance, how different it is the pulse of New York, of London, of Hong Kong, how different parts of the city work in different ways, how we can also use all this information in order to design and plan better cities. So what we are doing in Singapore, for instance, where we have a group inside our lab, is look at this information that we collect from networks to understand how we can plan better public transportation. So where we have underserved links of public transportation, and so we can actually make the public transportation system in the island more efficient. Or another thing you can do is, from this information you learn a lot about human mobility, and then that becomes very interesting. For instance, what we're doing in Singapore is predict dengue fever and actually how it might spread. We are developing a map that will tell you, not only where clusters of dengue are, which is what happens today, but actually what the risk of dengue could be and is in the island based on the mobility of all the people there. This is really the follow-up to this project we started called Live Singapore. It's about really real-time information, how much real-time information we can collect from the city of Singapore. Singapore is very interesting because it's a city, but it's also an island, there's a state, so it's a kind of ideal place for a controlled experiment. And in Live Singapore, really collecting all this real-time information and trying to understand how we can share it, open it up, share it with people. It's like open real-time data and also, get meaningful information out of it. If you think about Live Singapore, imagine a city in real time where you know all what is happening there. And imagine also how you can take this data and share it with people in an open way. People talk a lot about open data, but think about open real-time data, very fresh data. So that becomes very interesting because you can really enact maybe feedback loops. And the other thing you can do is actually then analyze this information and use it for different things. Like, instead of seeing where dengue fever clusters are, you can actually look at that plus mobility and try to predict how the risk of dengue fever might change on the island. So these are just some examples of what you can do when you have all this real-time information, and especially, which is very, very important, when you use it in an open way and you make it available to the public. So, and yes, we said there's an incredible amount of data, but we need to be very, very careful on how we do it, on how transparent we are about the data. How we use aggregated data as we do in the lab, in order to better understand the city is very different than actually using individual data. And that's one very important thing, and we want to discuss it. Actually, we're organizing a conference on November 14th and 15th, 2013, this year, in order really to discuss it and really to talk about privacy, about the data, about what is the value for the collective when you use it in an aggregated way, but also, and most importantly, how we should really use data. What are the rules for that? At the lab, we look a lot at technologies and how technologies are changing the way we live in cities, but the important thing is actually it's not technology, it's the human side behind. And there's two ways of looking at smart cities. There's a kind of top-down way, just about optimization, but there's a more exciting way, which is when these processes actually happen by engaging people. It's kind of a bottom-up way. You will get optimization as well, but actually you do it by engaging a kind of distributed intelligence. And that is really what we're very passionate about at the lab.